One of the most unsettling things about the internet is how it holds onto people. Their videos, their voices, their digital footprints, all frozen in time. And YouTube is no exception. It's filled with forgotten channels, old uploads, strange pages that haven't been touched in years. But every now and then, you stumble on one that's different. A channel with just 2 Fortnite clips and 1 short video of his dog. But what makes this one different, what makes it disturbing, is what came after. Because less than a year later, that same boy would walk into his school with 2 handguns. He'd shoot and kill his teacher, wound 6 more, then turn the gun on himself. He was just 11 years old. This is the story of Jose Angel Ramos Betts. Jose Angel Ramos Betts seemed like a normal kid. He was 11 years old, quiet, did well in school, and didn't stand out for the right or wrong reasons. Just another face in the classroom at Colegio Cervantes, a private school in Torreon, Mexico. But behind that, his life was falling apart. His mother had died during surgery when he was still a child. His father was a convicted drug trafficker who'd served time in the US for smuggling meth across the border. By the time of the shooting, Jose was living with his grandparents. His grandfather, Jose Angel Ramos Saucedo, had a criminal record of his own. He was connected to large-scale drug activity and was being investigated for laundering money through international transfers, the kind that raised enough suspicion to get the Mexican government involved. Accounts were frozen, authorities were watching, and yet he still kept 2 handguns in the house. At first, it was believed that Jose found them on his own, that they were simply left unsecured. But that wasn't the case. According to leaked WhatsApp messages later recovered from his grandfather's phone, he had knowingly given the weapons to his grandson. In one message, Saucedo's daughter asks, "Why did you give it to him, Dad? Do you see what happens? When I saw him, I wasn't surprised. I knew it was you who gave it to him." And his reply was just as chilling. "I couldn't stop him. It was his will." The same man who handed those weapons to a child was eventually arrested, not just for negligence, but as a suspect in a broader investigation tied to drug trafficking and money laundering. His connections even led to an Argentine cartel figure, Mario Roberto Segovia. And while all of this was unfolding, Jose's father had quietly been released from prison in Texas. His location? Unknown. Everyone who might have been responsible for this boy's life had either vanished or looked away. And somehow, even after all of this, Jose still showed up to school, still sat quietly in class, still seemed like just another kid. Until he wasn't. It started just after 8 a.m. on January 10th, 2020. Jose Angel arrived at Colegio Cervantes carrying a backpack with 2 guns inside, one .22 caliber pistol and a semi-automatic .40 caliber Glock. Both belonged to his grandfather, and both were loaded. He walked through the gates like any other student, but earlier that morning, he'd said something to a few of his classmates. Just 6 words. Hoy va ser el día. Today is going to be the day. At 8:20, Jose asked to use the bathroom. His teacher, Maria Asaf Medina, said yes. 15 minutes passed. He didn't come back. So she got up and went to look for him. At 8:40 a.m., Jose stepped out of the bathroom, wearing different clothes, a white t-shirt, black pants, black suspenders. He was dressed exactly like Eric Harris, one of the Columbine shooters. Then, he pulled out the guns. He opened fire in the hallway, shooting 5 classmates and a physical education teacher, 40-year-old Aldo Omar Saldivar. Then he turned to Maria, the same teacher who'd gone to find him, and shot her. She died instantly. By 8:43, it was over. Jose took his own life with a single gunshot. In less than 5 minutes, a child had carried out one of the most disturbing school shootings in Mexico's history. When the shots rang out, teachers in other classrooms locked their doors, students hid under desks, police arrived within minutes, dozens of officers and soldiers surrounded the school. But it was already too late. The day after the shooting, the news made headlines across the country. A teacher was dead, 6 others were injured, and the shooter was just 11 years old. The reaction was immediate, but chaotic. Rumors spread that he was only 8, that he was bullied, that it was all because of video games. Parents showed up at the gate demanding answers. Politicians called for tighter school security. But while the authorities scrambled for explanations, the internet was already looking somewhere else. It didn't take long for people to find it. His YouTube channel, Angelisho Bets. And when you look at where he came from, what his home life was like, you start to wonder what this channel might have actually meant to him. Maybe it wasn't just about gaming. Maybe it wasn't even really about YouTube. Maybe it was an escape from the chaos, from a home surrounded by criminals and guns and people who were supposed to protect him, but didn't. Maybe this channel was the only place he had that felt safe, the only place he was in control, and even that wasn't enough. That's the part that stays with you. The channel is still there, still online. Not because anyone cared about it, not because it meant something to the world, but because maybe it meant something to him. And now it sits in silence, a forgotten corner of YouTube, quietly holding the last piece of a boy who no one really saw until it was already too late. YouTube has become a place where anyone can share their story, no matter how unusual or obscure. But occasionally, you stumble across a channel that leaves you with more questions than answers. One of those channels belongs to Anna Matskevich, a creator better known as Refbatch. When Anna Matskevich first began posting on YouTube back in 2008, her videos were different. Most of them are unedited, shot in one take, and seem to be filmed wherever she happens to be at the time. Her early uploads often featured her speaking directly to the camera in a hurried, almost panicked tone. She'd switch between Russian and English, sometimes in the middle of a sentence, making it nearly impossible to follow what she was saying. But over time, a message began to take shape, buried in the chaos. She claimed she was being watched, followed, drugged. And depending on who you ask, she either lost her grip on reality or was desperately trying to hold on to it. If you managed to catch a few coherent phrases, a pattern started to emerge. Anna believed she was being targeted by the Russian government. She spoke about harassment, surveillance, and punishment for speaking out. But instead of presenting any evidence, her claims came across as scattered fragments of a larger, unclear picture. Then there were her dances. In many of her videos, Anna would perform short routines, movements that seemed improvised, in forests, on snowy sidewalks, or in empty rooms. There was no music, no explanation, and no real context for these performances. They simply existed alongside her other uploads. In one such video, you can even hear gunshots in the background, adding to the eerie element of it all. But there's one strange detail that complicates this story even further. Around the same time that Anna Matskevich first appeared on YouTube, another Anna Matskevich vanished from something entirely different. According to the World Dance Sport Federation, a professional ballroom dancer by that name was actively competing in international competitions throughout the early 2000s. And then she stopped. Her final listed event was in 2008, the same year Refbatch began posting. Now, to be clear, we can't confirm they're the same person. There are no photos, no videos tying the performer to Anna on YouTube, but the name, the location, and the shared fixation on dance all line up. But if they are, it adds a layer to this already fractured portrait, because maybe those strange dances she performs on snowy sidewalks and in empty rooms aren't as random as they seem. Maybe they're echoes, faded remnants of a past life she can't quite let go of. Or maybe they're all that's left of it. Over time, Anna's posting habits became more extreme. On some days, she'd upload dozens of videos, each one short, frantic, and nearly impossible to make sense of. Even the descriptions, written in broken English with long, unpunctuated sentences, added to the confusion. They repeated the same themes: warnings about government interference, stories of imprisonment, and cryptic phrases that seemed like they might mean something, but never quite did. Anna's husband, Maxim Belov, is also a part of this story. Like Anna, Maxim has a YouTube channel, though this channel now seems to be mostly updated by Anna too. He claims that Anna was detained by the Russian government and placed in a psychiatric ward against her will. According to him, this was part of an effort to silence her, and during her confinement, she was subjected to harsh treatments involving psychotropic drugs. Some of the descriptions read, "On 15th August 2014, my wife Anna Matskevich was attacked in Moscow district Kuzminki by hooligans who blocked her in a post office and called the police, who also assaulted Anna and sent her to a psychiatric clinic with false accusations. On 19th August, she was brought to a court hearing under strong psychotropic medications. My objections that the clinic staff had administered strong psychotropic medications before the hearing and that Anna was in the clinic due to fabrications by paid liars were ignored by the judge from Moscow's Lyublinsky court, Mr. Matlikov A.S., who decided on forcible treatment for Anna in the psychiatric clinic. I visited Anna the next day after the hearing. She informed me that she was forbidden even to move inside the room where she was isolated. She was also very limited in washing her face and was not given back her glasses, despite her diopters being -8. I contacted her doctor, Mrs. Sevryukova, and pointed out these issues and asked her not to violate Anna's basic human rights. On 21st August, I contacted Deputy Chief Dr. Mr. Fedin. He didn't advise me to file a cassation appeal against Anna's psychiatric imprisonment and said she could only sign the cassation appeal herself. Anna used to record videos in English on Moscow streets, which caused hatred from the crowd because most people don't understand English, especially Western mentality. In Russia, people who use English are mostly lawyers or representatives of Western business branches. Anna Matskevich is still in the so-called watching room, where the clinic staff continues to administer psychotropic injections of haloperidol despite my protests. When I raised this issue again, the nurse replied that I should contact her doctor during public hours on Wednesday only. It's a disturbing claim, but not entirely unheard of in Russia's history. During the Soviet era, psychiatry was weaponized against dissenters. Thousands of people were diagnosed with sluggish schizophrenia, a fabricated condition used to justify locking them away in mental institutions. The treatments were brutal: electroshock therapy without anesthesia, forced insulin comas, and heavy doses of antipsychotic medication. Although this practice was officially abandoned in the 1990s, reports suggest that it might be resurfacing. Since 2012, there have been dozens of documented cases where psychiatry was allegedly used to silence critics of the government. Whether Anna's story fits into this pattern or is the result of something else, perhaps mental illness, paranoia, or even a shared delusion between her and Maxim, it's impossible to say for sure. As Anna continues to upload, her mental state seems to be slipping further. Her speech is increasingly incoherent, her movements erratic, and her videos fragmented to the point of being almost incomprehensible. Whether this decline is the result of trauma, untreated mental illness, or simply years of living in fear, it's impossible to say. What we do know is that Anna's reality is one that exists entirely on its own terms, shaped by her own fears and Maxim's unwavering support. It's hard to watch Anna's story unfold without wondering what, if anything, could change her course. Is she a victim of her own mind? Or is there truth to her claims, a hidden story that's impossible to prove? To this day, her channel continues to grow, one fragmented video at a time. As of making this video, her channels have now amassed over 100,000 uploads on YouTube. Each upload adds another layer to her story, but no closer to an answer. There are some videos that never really leave the internet, no matter how hard people try to erase them. The Bud Dwyer press conference, Funky Town, One Man, One Jar, Ghost Rider. If you've been online long enough, you already know what they are. If you haven't, don't go looking. These weren't just shock clips. They were trauma, packaged and passed around like inside jokes. For a while they disappeared, pushed into dark forums, taken down from video sites, and buried under years of new content. But now, somehow, they're back. Not on LiveLeak, not buried in Gore archives. They're on YouTube, repackaged, disguised, and slipping through a loophole. It usually starts subtle, a strange title, a blurry thumbnail, maybe a video from a channel you've never heard of. You don't even search for it. YouTube recommends it, just drops it into your feed like it's nothing. You click out of curiosity, and for the first few seconds, it just looks like a distorted mess. A cartoon, stop motion, some AI-generated garbage, nothing that really makes sense. But then, you hear it. There's no music, no narration, just something else. It's the sound of a man choking, gasping, begging. The kind of sound that doesn't come from a film set, the kind of sound you instantly know is real. That's when it clicks. This isn't fiction, this isn't art. It's gore. These videos are based on actual footage, executions, suicides, murders. The visuals are warped, blurred, reanimated, filtered just enough to confuse the algorithm. But the audio, it's untouched, and somehow, that's enough to keep it online. According to YouTube, content like this shouldn't exist on the platform. They say their systems use a mix of automation and human review. That machine learning is constantly fed with data from past violations. That millions of content decisions are informed by previous human judgments. And if something's flagged, either by the algorithm or by users, it's sent to a trained reviewer, someone who supposedly understands the guidelines and knows where to draw the line. And yet, here we are, a distorted clip of a man being tortured. His screams left completely intact. The title of the video referencing the exact cartel footage it's based on. No warning screen, no age restriction, nothing. YouTube says that if content is educational, documentary, scientific or artistic, it might be allowed under certain conditions. But there's nothing educational about this. No explanation, no context. Just suffering, dressed up in filters and re-uploaded for clicks. Their systems are designed to detect what's harmful. Their human reviewers are supposed to make the final call. But either no one's watching, or they've decided this doesn't count. And that's the part no one can explain. And if you think this kind of content is rare or hidden away, you'd be wrong. Two of the most infamous cartel clips ever recorded are still on YouTube, and only a few clicks away. The first is known by the name Quiero Agua, Spanish for I want water. The video is only around 25 seconds long. There's no violence shown, no action taking place, just the aftermath. It shows a man, severely injured, being questioned by a cartel member. His face has been altered, badly. What's left is barely recognizable, and despite his condition, he's still alive. When asked what he wants, he replies, quietly, agua, water. The man questioning him wears a clown mask, something that's become disturbingly associated with these kinds of videos. He taunts the victim, asking him to say it again, to say it louder. The victim tries, but he can barely speak. His voice shakes. Each word sounds like it physically hurts to say. What makes the video so hard to watch isn't just the violence, it's the way the man sounds. How every word he says feels like it takes effort, like it hurts to speak. He's crying, he's confused, he's still trying to respond, and then the video ends. The full clip isn't on YouTube, but the still images and audio are. The man's face, what's left of it, is being used as a thumbnail, just sitting there, next to gaming videos, podcasts, and music. If you search Quiero Agua, you'll find them. No warning, no blur, just screenshots from one of the most disturbing clips ever recorded. But it's not the only one. Funky Town, arguably the most infamous Gore video on the internet, is also on YouTube, in full. It shows a man who's been restrained and mutilated. He's still conscious, still breathing. Music plays in the background while his attackers take their time. The video lasts nearly 3 minutes, and while some uploads apply filters or visual effects, many don't. The footage is exactly what it's always been, and it's just there, sitting on the same platform as cooking tutorials and travel vlogs, waiting for some unsuspecting individual to click on it. Most people assume the internet's worst videos are buried deep, that you'd have to go looking for them, that they're hidden away on dark forums or locked behind paywalls. But they're not. Some are repackaged, hidden under filters, animation, or heavy distortion. Others aren't. In some cases, the footage is real, unedited, fully visible, and somehow, it's still online. They're just moments of real human suffering, uploaded to a site meant for entertainment. YouTube says it has systems in place, automated detection, human reviewers, but those systems are failing, or worse, ignoring what's right in front of them. And if some of the most disturbing footage ever captured can live on this platform without consequence, you have to wonder what else is out there, and for how long it'll stay. There's a place on YouTube where grief is farmed for clicks, where the deaths of real people, some just hours gone, are turned into content, and where even the living aren't safe from being declared dead. These aren't tributes. They're not memorials made by friends or family. They're part of a growing content ecosystem, built entirely on scraping other people's tragedies for views. It's something most people don't think twice about. You search a name, maybe someone you knew, maybe someone you just heard about, and in the results, there's a video, a familiar face, no news headlines, no official statement, just a quiet upload on YouTube. It looks harmless, but what you're about to watch doesn't feel right, and it's not. The thumbnails vary. Some include phrases like "rest in peace" or "in loving memory," but many don't. A lot of them are intentionally plain, just a photo of the person who died. No dramatic headlines, no emotional text, just a face. And that's all it takes, because these videos aren't made for mass appeal. They're targeting people who knew the person, friends, relatives, classmates, people who are grieving, people who are searching, and when they click, the channel earns money. Inside, the video is rarely what you'd expect. The narration is often lifeless. Sometimes it's AI generated, but in many cases, it's a real person, reading from a script they clearly didn't write, mispronouncing names, skipping details, and rushing through it like it's a chore, because it is. These creators don't care who they're talking about. They found the obituary on a funeral site or local news page, copied the text, dropped it into a slideshow editor, and hit upload.
Hello viewers, welcome to my video. Dottie Mikachion Obituary Death Princeton WV Community Hospital member has passed away. It is with profound sadness and a deep sense of loss that we share the news of the unexpected passing of Dottie McCutcheon, a beloved volunteer and dear friend of the Princeton Community Hospital family in Princeton, West Virginia. Dottie passed away unexpectedly yesterday morning. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Hello viewers, welcome to my video. Eliyahu Fink obituary death. Eliyahu Fink Monson Boy death. Rabbi Eliyahu Fink passed away in fatal accident. The Monson, New York community is mourning the death of Rabbi Eliyahu Fink, who passed away in a fatal accident. Rabbi Fink was a revered religious leader, a deep thinker, and a cherished member of the Jewish community. So guys, thank you for watching this video.
Some channels post dozens of these videos every single day, hundreds overall. It's some sort of sick production line. In some cases, these videos are published just hours after the person's death is announced. Before the family has even finished processing what's happened, a stranger has already packaged it into content. And then there's the second category, the fake ones. Some channels don't wait for someone to die. They fabricate entire stories about celebrities who are still alive. They'll post a thumbnail with a well-known face and a dramatic title like Heartbreaking News or Farewell to Iconic Actor. Inside the video, there's no real information, no source, no confirmation, just vague language and generic footage designed to make you believe the worst. And people believe it. Comments are filled with condolences, rest in peace messages, shocked reactions, people who don't realize until later, or ever, that the person isn't dead. And by the time anyone figures it out, the video's already done its job. It's been watched, it's been monetized, and the owner has already moved on to the next upload. The people behind these channels don't care about accuracy, they don't care about the families, and they don't fear consequences. They claim fair use, they delete negative comments, they move on. And because YouTube's algorithm is built to promote whatever gets clicks, it keeps pushing these videos into search results, sometimes even ahead of official news reports. So the next time someone passes away, whether it's a celebrity or someone from your hometown, there's a real chance that a stranger you've never met will try to turn that death into revenue. It's the digital equivalent of showing up to a funeral you weren't invited to, taking photos of the casket and selling them to the highest bidder. And it's not going away, because when you die, some people don't mourn. They monetize.